What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Mint City Soccer Show. I'm Corey Insco, here with David Gussler, and we did it. We promised the people we would come back for a Thursday preview episode, and we did it. Pat ourselves on the back real quick. But we're here to talk very quickly.
Don't jinx it, Corey, because the show's technically not uploaded yet, so something can happen.
True. We at least recorded it, and hopefully you're listening to it. So we are here to talk a little bit about Saturday's match against St. Louis City. We also had a few questions come in after we recorded or while we were recording that we missed on earlier in the week. So we'll go through some of those as well and get everybody ready for the weekend because, man, soccer's back. I've activated my Apple TV subscription, which, side note, I'm a big fan of the new way it's happening where I'm basically getting Apple TV for free rather than getting the add-on for free. Like, did not know that perk was coming. I'm very excited about that. So enjoyed my little refund that I got when I activated that thing.
There you go.
Yeah. If you haven't done that, get on it so you can watch the soccer this weekend. If you're a season ticket member, I should say. But yeah, we've got St. Louis City away this weekend, which we saw them away to start the season 3 years ago now. I thought I was going to say 2, but it was 2023.
That's crazy.
And yeah, it doesn't feel that long ago. And St. Louis City's first ever home match. And we started the season with them. And we lost that match 3-1. It's the only time these two teams have played. But I was thinking about them, like, these two teams were very different back then on very different situations, very different trajectories. I mean, just thinking about that was the season. That was St. Louis City's first season. They go on and have just an insane inaugural campaign, kind of like San Diego did last year. I mean, yeah, like these expansion West teams are like coming in and just world beaters for a season. So had a David said lucky twice, but had a really good season. Started off with a win against us in that season. But yeah, things are looking very differently for the two teams heading into this year's season opener. I think David had some things pulled up that he was going to share about that earlier matchup.
Well, so I know you were mentioning like the first time we ever played them. So we've only played them one time, and it was unfortunately a loss. So Charlotte. So I was at this game again. Unfortunately, traveled to St. Louis. I brought
we had
my
a good
wife.
crew there, right? You Swift was there too, and there's a good crew there.
We had a really loud crew for the first like 25 minutes of the game. And then it just slowly and painfully turned into a quiet section for the rest of the game. But I was there. It's funny. We were talking about this the other night and I was like, man, we just need to have like a Where Are They Now episode, which I think we are going to do because we got some positive reaction, right? But I was looking I had to look this up and I'm like, this starting 11 is so different than what we have now on our roster. And just goes to show you how quickly rosters can turn over and change in soccer just in general. Mm-hmm. But even for Charlotte, just the trajectory of where we were at and where we're at now from 2.5, 3 years ago to this. So I'm gonna read some of our starting 11 for you and then read some of our depth pieces. You ready for this bad boy? So in goal was not Christian Kalina. It was Pablo Cicinega. Yeah. So he was, because I think Kalina like hurt his back or something.
Is this when he had the back end? Yeah. Okay. I was trying to remember what it was that he had. Yeah, that makes sense.
So Pablo started for Charlotte in this game. On the back line, he had Nathan Byrne at right back, Adilson Milan at center back, Bill Tuiluma at center back, and then the wonderful, my favorite person in the world, but I don't know why, Brant Bronico at left back.
I knew it.
So
we're
going to come back and talk and just reminisce about that fun experiment.
That was
in the midfield. You had Derek Jones at the pivot, whatever you want to call it, Ashley Westwood, and Andre Shinyashiki.
You know, I miss Derek Jones sometimes, like in that role. I mean, I know like we've definitely upgraded the midfield from then. Like it's been the right move since then. But I enjoyed watching him play.
Yeah, was like a lanky, defensive, possessive guy. You know,
Yeah,
like,
he
you
just
know.
looked so calm in situations he probably shouldn't have been calm. He was just like, "Yeah, I
Yeah.
got this, guys."
It's like the opposite of what we. Sorry, I miss Derek Jones. I'm not going to make this into a hater episode. Sorry. And then up top, you ready for this? So this is when Latanzio, like, Lord bless him, on just like what he was trying to figure out and how to start two DPs. We had three DPs up top. Ready for this? Enzo Capetti, Karol Swiderski, Kamil Józwiak.
Wow.
Right? That was our. So Karol Swiderski was playing right wing, Kamil Józwiak was playing left wing, and Enzo Capetti was playing striker. Now, you ready to hear some of our depth pieces?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Is like, who is sitting on the bench for this that didn't get to start this match?
So Harrison Awful, again, Harrison Awful's on the bench. I can't remember why. I would have probably put Harrison Awful at left back.
Why was he?
Than Brandt Bronico.
Yeah.
I think this was when he was doing that kind of weird player coach role, and he could only play a certain amount of matches.
Okay.
And so, like, you had that. Jalen Lindsay was on the bench.
Wait, why was he not playing?
Probably should have been playing Jalen Lindsay. You ready for this? Here's another one. You ready?
Uh-huh.
Joseph Mora, again, natural left back.
Yeah.
Was, again, not playing left back.
What the?
Ben Bender, again, you have Derek Jones in the midfield and not Ben Bender, but, you know, whatever.
I'm again, I'm not trying to be like a Derek Jones stan here, but I'm still fine
I know.
with that.
Probably true. George Marks is our backup keeper.
Okay.
And then a little unknown player named Patrick Agermang was on the bench.
Amazing.
So like, just talking about how different our roster was in that spot. But, you know, I blocked that game out from my memory because I forgot. I kind of knew what happened, but I had to go back and I started watching it. And I was like, I forgot that we actually went up 1-0 in that game. We were leading the game up to almost halftime. So we scored off of a really nice like ball in from Karol Swiderski. Enzo Capetti headed the ball in. So again, first game with Enzo Capetti, header right into the goal. You're like, oh my God, Charlotte's figured it out. You've got a DP on the wing that made an assist, a DP in the striker that got a goal. They're silencing the crowd on the road at St. Louis's first home game. And then it kind of spiraled out of control. And you had the Bill Tuiluma trying to flick the head at the ball with his head over Pablo, and it chipped Pablo into our own goal at the 41st minute. You had a handball in the box by I think it was Karol Swiderski, because again he's playing wing, so he was trying to be a little bit more defensive. Had a handball in the box, so St. Louis then scored a second goal. And then the third one was when Adilson Malanda was trying to play the ball backwards, because, you know, Latanzio ball was all about, you know, building it up from the back and all this stuff. And it was a really poor pass back to Pablo, and it just got intercepted by St. Louis, and St. Louis just chipped it in. And it was a disaster of a game. So, but you know what's funny is that, like, I watched some of the highlights back, and I'm like, Brandt actually didn't play that bad at left back. I know it's a meme to be like, is Brandt Bronico playing left back for us? But he actually didn't play that bad at it. Just to say, just for the record. Yeah, but
to be fair, like, it's less about how he played. It's more the fact of why.
Well, when you have two left backs and a right back on their bench that could have played the position, and you put Brandt Bronico in.
I don't think I realized that we had those people on the bench for that match. That's insane.
It's not great.
Man,
well, there's a reason why the guy's not our coach anymore. So
yeah, for real. This really reinforces that we need to go back and either do a Where Are They Now or do live watches of old matches and just sit through and be like, man, remember when this is what we were happy about? That's wild.
But you know, it's funny. You mentioned it, and I was joking at the beginning about being lucky and stuff like that. But St. Louis started really hot that year, and they finished 4th in MLS, but 1st in the West that year. Had a 17 goal plus goal differential. I remember Swift was banging the drum about like, have you watched their games? They just have passes fall right to them and they just chip the ball in. There was a lot of like fluke goals and situations here. And they had that first round bye. They had home field advantage for the playoffs. And they lose to like, I want to say like Sporting Kansas City in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like someone just crazy like that in the first round. And since then, it's been a disaster for St. Louis. They finished 24th in MLS in 2024. I want to say like they were like last or second to last in the West. Last year, they finished 25th in MLS. They finished, I think third to last, barely squeaking out over LA Galaxy and Sporting Kansas City. And if you look at some of their moves this year, they're kind of in a retooling. Like they haven't really made a big splash again. Like they still have, Berkey in goal as a designated player. You still have some moves around like that, but they sold Klaus, who was their leading goal scorer for 3 years, sold him to LA Galaxy. Henry Kessler was one of their starting center backs. He's left on a free transfer and went to Charlotte.
Yeah.
Yep. They had another center back leave, and he's on a free transfer, hasn't signed with anybody yet. And the players they've brought in aren't like big name players that they've spent a ton on. So like, and I'm not going to sit here and say you have to spend a ton of money in MLS because you don't. That's the nice thing with the parity in the league. But you've got, I'm probably going to butcher this guy's name, but Fall, who's one of their new center backs. He was their big spend at a $3 million transfer fee at center back. And then they brought in another player from Minnesota at 1.37 million transfer fee. That's their new center forward, right? So it's like, that's their big gets this year. So they've let some players leave. They've only brought in a player or two that's not really big name players. If you look at their roster, and again, I know it's just like transfer fees and valuations, but they really don't have really any high valued players or big name players that's, on their roster that could potentially make some noise. So I'm hoping I'm not being overconfident because I was overconfident last time we played St. Louis.
Right.
But on paper, this is the kind of game and expectation where I expect Charlotte to make some noise and be able to should win on the road.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's a road game, especially the first match of the season. Like you said, you don't want to get your hopes up too much or be too overly confident with what can happen because playing on the road is tough. And this is the first. I mean, this team's played together. We talked about in the past how we have a lot of the same core people, so this team knows each other pretty well, with the exception of the back line, parts of it. And they've had the preseason, but you still worry a little bit about how they actually come out in that first match away from home. But all that being said, like this does feel like a match where I expect us to play well and come out and get a win because you're right. I mean, we didn't know what we were getting into with St. Louis in the first time we played them. And they got that win and they went on to have a great season. But to your point about things falling lucky for them, they've won 3-1 and one was an old goal and one was a giveaway. I mean, so it's like, and one was a penalty. All three were giveaway goals. So it wasn't like, necessarily they outplayed Charlotte even back then. So knowing what we have now, knowing where they are as far as where they are as a program, I think this is one of those matches that we need to come in and perform well, come out with a win, and get the season started off the right track. It will be one of those, like, I'm not going to go sky is falling after one match. Obviously, that's not how I am and not how we are. But like, it will be one of those, like, if we don't look good against them, it's like, is something not clicking yet? What are we needing to do there? Because they're very much in like you said, are totally retooling mode. I mean, they've got the new sporting director, they got a new head coach, they've let some of these big players go. Like, they're very clearly like, all right, we need to rebuild this thing and get back on the right track, which I think is the right thing for them to be doing. But because they're in that mode, there's not, there's not a lot of danger or things that you can get really excited about on their team. So it's
a little dangerous too, because you don't really know what you're going to get. Right. Like how does Dean scheme? Like you can kind of assume how they're going to play based off some probably preseason matches, based off the players they have on their roster, based off of the manager's previous stints as a coach, etc. But it still kind of sets you up for some angst a little bit, just because like it's someone new, and you're also playing on the road, and it's also the national game at 2:30 when there's no other games on. So you have the entire league, and if you're an MLS fan and you put on that new Apple TV deal that you got there, Corey, and you're putting the game on, like it's the one game that is going to be on while it starts opening day.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I think Matt pointed this out previously. I don't understand why we were playing them away again. I don't know I don't know how the scheduled rotation works, but it just feels like we should have gotten them.
We should have gotten that one at home
before we had to travel back out there to open the season.
You would think so, but
you would think so, but
no. I just want to poo-poo on St. Louis a little bit more, just to make Matt Swift's heart flutter a little bit.
Sure. Why
so
not?
looking at their best season when they finished first in the West, just to kind of show how weak the West has been the past 2-3 years. Their best season, they won 17 games, and that helped them clinch first in the West and was in the Supporters Shield kind of conversation. Charlotte last year won 19 games and finished fourth in the East, seventh total in MLS. And and that was like our best season. We still won 2 more games than them, and we were still in 7th place total in MLS. The year they've won 2 less games, they finished in 4th. But then I also have to just like chuckle that they've in 2 years won 1 less home game combined than they did their first. I'm sorry, 1 less game total win than they did their first year. So they've only won 8 games the past 2 years. So, yeah.
I think this is a long time ago now. I think I maybe referenced it since then, but this very much speaks to my point of before we ever, had a real match with Charlotte FC. I think we are having I think it was at Matt's house, if I remember correctly. There's a handful of us over there recording. And I was always like, I care way less about having out of the gate success than I do building a solid foundation of what the team is and a fan base. I was like, I will take that every day of the week if it means we kind of suck in the first year, like whatever. Because like this, I feel like the way Charlotte has built the team and has progressed, and we'll see what happens this season, but the way things seem to be progressing, it's like we started, kind of middling, almost made the playoffs, but like, that team had some definite struggles. We had a lot of coach turnover. So like there were definitely some issues happening, but to then be in the playoffs every other year, be progressing the right way, have a solid fan base, be building it up the right way that it kind of keeps building momentum. I will take that every day of the week than in your first season, winning the West or winning the East or winning an MLS Cup super early in your history and then kind of falling apart. I will take this.
Oh, I was just like, yeah, I agree with you because again, looking at this, how nice we have this. Ready? So in our 4 years that we've been around, we have improved in points every year. So we went from 42 points, 43 points, 51 points, 59 points, right? Mm-hmm. St. Louis, on the other hand, went from 56 points, 37 points, 32 points. Mm-hmm. So pretty stark difference there. I know we were talking the other day about goals scored and like having fun for that kind of thing. We have increased our goal score allotment every year. We went from 44 to 45 to 46 to 55. St. Louis, on the other hand, went from 62 goals to 50 goals to 44 goals, right? So like they've been on like outside of goals against, every statistic, at least like in terms of like performance on just the standard stat sheet here, like they've gone in the wrong direction, which makes sense. Like they fired their coach, they got another manager. It's their 3rd manager, I think, in their 4th year. So they kind of have a similar trajectory as Charlotte. So you never know. This could be their Dean Smith that could turn them around and get them, moving in the right direction. I hope not. Or if they are, do it after we play them. But I don't know. It feels good to say, like you said, that we've had consistent success, improvement year over year over year. Now, can we win a game as an opening game of the season? Because if you look back at our opening games over the years, Seattle last year, we had like a last minute draw. The year before that was who we played the third year for our first game. I'm trying to filibuster while I pull this.
It wasn't a home game, was it? I feel like we almost never.
It was. Sorry, we did win. We did win. It was against NYCFC. We won 1-0 at home.
Okay.
And then the year before that was 2023, which is where we lost to St. Louis. And then the year before that was when we had LA Galaxy. We lost to the Galaxy at home. So we've won one game in 4 years as our opening game. So hopefully we can continue to move in the right direction this year.
I just want to point this out too. I think probably most people know this, but like when we talked about St. Louis going through coaches, you know who their opening their first coach for the team was and where he was last year. Bradley Carnell coached the Philadelphia Union last year after he got let go by St. Louis.
They did pretty darn good.
Philadelphia had a pretty good season. Like I think they're doing pretty well. So
which is funny because if you followed like Philadelphia Union like Twitter or like their fandom last year heading into the beginning of the season, they had very little expectations. They unloaded some of their big name players. They brought in a guy that went in the wrong direction in St. Louis. And then all of a sudden, like you said last year, like I think they did a pretty good job last year. So
yeah. Because their rebuild probably was not necessarily the same situation that other teams are in.
No, of course
what they have in there, but I think it was like they were kind of like in a little bit of a mini reset of like, all right, let's kind of bring in some younger guys. Let's shift. Let's let go of some people, bring some new people in, and shift around and see where we can go. And then all of a sudden, went crazy in 2025. So interesting. I don't know how I would feel if I were a St. Louis supporter seeing him go and do that somewhere else when he was the guy you had. So
gosh darn, I feel so bad for those St. Louis City supporters. I'm so sorry.
Just love I don't know if it was because I wasn't there or because I'm not on Twitter or both, but I'm
not on Twitter anymore. But yes,
I don't have the level of saltiness that you and Matt have for St. Louis. It cracks me up that you do. Like y'all get so amped up about this, and I'm like, whatever. I don't care about them, but like it's
such a stupid. It's such a stupid level. Like saltiness. Yeah, I know. It's almost at the stupidity level of me hating on the purple kit. But it's. At least this one's warranted because it's against a opposing team, not on our own kit. You know what I mean? So,
man. All right, so this match is Saturday again, 2:30 p.m. This is always I say this multiple times because I just always assume every match is at 7:30 and then get surprised at like 2 o'clock when I get a lineup alert. So 2:30, it is the nationally televised match that everybody will be watching. So check that out. I guess we should end with score predictions. So
starting maybe before we do scores, what do you think starting 11 is going to be? I know we talked about that earlier in the week too. Any final thoughts or anything different that you would do in this game? I know we had a few club announcements too, like today or yesterday for some super draft picks. So I don't know if that changes your thought process, but what do you think starting 11 wise would be for this game?
No, I think, if I had to assume, the back line is where I just don't really know, and it depends a little bit on health. But I think we have Tokomati, Zaha, Vargas is what I assume up top. De La Torre, Westwood, and Biel in the middle. And then definitely Byrne, definitely Ream. My gut says Privet, and then if Toffolo is healthy, I think he gets a start. If he's not, I think it's Schnegg who gets over there. But those are really the two positions I'm just not 100% sure on. But that's if I had to guess, and obviously clean and goal. Those are the only two that I don't feel like solidly confident that that's going to be the starter. The surprise to me would be if somehow Abada starts over Vargas. That's like the wild card.
That would be the surprise.
I don't expect that, but that's the only thing that that's the only thing that would show up in the lineup. That'd be like, oh, interesting.
Well, and to your point, and not to read too much in the preseason, but like we really didn't see Vargas very much in the preseason. Like you saw him here and there, but like you saw Abada, and Abada made an impact on the time that he did. I'm not saying Vargas didn't, because I think he actually did score a goal or assist or something like that in one of the first games. But yeah, I mean, Abada had a good preseason, impactful, and played more minutes. So maybe Dean's just trying to get him out of his funk, try to build some confidence heading into the season. Like we'll see. Yeah,
and that's the thing. He could get a chance. Like that's the only other wild card, I think. Like I don't expect to see it, but I would be like that's the only thing I could see that would be kind of a wow situation is starting him. But it could be, I mean, there's a chance. I mean, because I don't think you necessarily look back at what happened last season. There's a chance that Dean Smith's looking at like, all right, let's look at how we did off-season training. Let's look at how the preseason matches went, and I'm going to pick who I feel like is the best player based on not based on last season. If you're looking at last season, it's like clearly Vargas was the guy. We should start him every single time. But there's a chance that it's like, all right, Abada's starting to prove himself. We're going to give him a chance here, but he's going to have a very short leash. So again, there's that kind of wild card out there. I still think we start Vargas, but I could see Abada sneaking in there, and it'd be very interesting to see how that plays out. How about you?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with basically what you said. I think you're going to see Zaha, Toklamati, Vargas start, and then I think you see BL, Luka, and Westwood in the midfield start, and then you're going to have, think like you said, if Harry's healthy and doesn't show any forms of tightness, concerns, you start him at left back. If not, then you see Schnegg start. But then I think you see Ream and Privet start, and then Nathan Byrne at right back, and then of course Kalina in goal. So I feel pretty good. But God, I'm looking at our roster, and like I know like we have a pretty decent roster with some good depth pieces now. Like it's like we continue to elevate, and like I was just kind of poo-pooing, St. Louis City's roster, and again, it's just transfer market and quote unquote market values. It's doesn't mean they're a good player, but like we have 14 players on our roster that are valued over $1 million, and it's like we have some really good depth, and we have some like Lilabada, Pepiel, Toklamati, Zaha, Luka, and Kerwin Vargas are all valued quote unquote over $3 million. And again, that's just, it's made up numbers. Doesn't mean it's actually gonna be legit, but like the fact that we have that kind of a roster build of some talent is great to see. And I know that's kind of what I'm sure a lot of fans probably wanted us to see year one. And we got there.
We got there.
I'd rather have this now than 4 years ago. So
yeah, and again, it wasn't like the team was a bottom dweller even when we didn't have the talent.
Correct.
That's the thing, is like it wasn't like we were starting.
We weren't St. Louis City last year.
Right. Or like when I think about
keep throwing those digs.
When I think about it, and again, I would rather not that, I don't know why we keep harping on this, but like I think about Cincinnati, right? And how awful they were when they first moved to MLS. Really but they had a great fan base, good atmosphere. They cared about that and like the culture of that. And it took a while. It took longer than probably anybody wanted, but now like they're a year in, year out, like they're going to be a contender in the East and play well. I would much rather have that long-term view on things than some flash in the pan seasons and then be, at the bottom of the league for a long time. Because we have enough of that in Charlotte sports. So I don't need more of that. All right. So we got starting lineups. Now we can do some score predictions. David, what you think?
So I'm gonna just stay true to form of every single year. I'm gonna give you a score prediction, and I'm gonna give you a very specific goal situation, just to keep with trends. So that's a throwback for anyone who's ever listened to the show at the beginning of the season. Throwback to year one. We're in Matt Swift's house. I think that against LA Galaxy, I was like, we're gonna win 1-0 with a crossing corner with Christian Fuchs volleying the ball into the top bin upper left corner of the goal, in the air. So I'm going to say that we win 2-0, and you're going to get a Luka assist to Toklamati, and then I think you're going to get a Vargas goal from an assist from Wilfred Zaha. So that's my 2-0. And a very specific situation. The Luka assist to Toklamati is going to be from the top of the box, that he's going to chip over the defenders, and then Toklamati is going to bicycle kick it into the goal like he did during the preseason. There's my crazy prediction. But no, 2-0. I'm going to say 2-0. We're not a gambling sponsored place. Don't take our word for the Bible and
our
do
words
what you
worth
want
nothing.
I like
really
it. It really is.
I'm gonna go same margin of victory, but 3-1.
Ooh, okay.
I don't really know why. I do like kind of what we were talking about last time. Is like I feel like our attack looks like it could be really good, and the question mark is the defense.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm going more goals and a goal given up. Just something stupid happening in the back, or getting beat with a ball over top or something like that. I guess I'm not going to go as specific as you, but I will pick some goal scorers just for fun.
There you go.
I'm going to say I want to see a Zaha brace. So 2 for Zaha.
Okay.
And then BL. I hate not giving Toklamati a goal, but I think it'd be fun. 2 for Zaha, 1 for BL. Couple assists from Luka. We'll go from there.
There you go.
That's what I'm looking for.
Let's roll with it, man. So no Andrew Privet goal, no Henry Kessler header revenge against his previous team. Got it.
That would be interesting to see him get the start or some playing time.
Well, because he scored against us, I think. Or no, he didn't score against us. Maybe he did.
I don't. I was on this page a minute ago. I don't think he did. All right, hold on. We're gonna
filibuster while we figure this out for 2 seconds here. But because I thought he scored a header. Maybe I'm. Oh no, that was when he played for the New England Revolution. That's what it was.
Okay.
He scored against us when we played the New England Revolution at home our first year.
Wow.
But that is
very good memory for you to know that happened, because I would not have.
That is totally like. And the funny thing is, he's only scored 5 goals in his entire career, and so it's like, why do I remember that one goal? It's because it was against us in our first year. So yeah,
great.
Don't know why, but he's actually a lot younger than I thought. He's only 26 years old.
Oh wow!
And he was a first round 6th overall draft pick in the 2020 MLS Super Draft. So he's a little bit younger than I thought. I thought for some reason he was a little older, but. Hey man, maybe get that little hamstring tightness figured out and show me what you got there, Mr. 20-something-year-old. So
absolutely. All right, let's get into the handful of questions that we had
let's do it.
Left over from last time. Let's see. Russell asked a bunch, so I'm going to pick. We talked about some of these. One of his was about Crown Legacy having an impact on the team. We talked about that some last time, so I'm going to skip over that. So here's something we've talked about a little bit that we'll ask this question, and then one other one from Russell. But do you think the club's offensive improvements will be enough to counteract the loss of Malanda on defense?
Boy, I sure do hope so. No, I want to say I think we're kind of hedging our bet to do that. I just my gut reaction is that I think, and which I'm okay with, because like if you go back to our playoffs this past year, like we couldn't create and score for our life depending on us, right? Yeah. So like, and we had a really good stretch there of like running 10 games undefeated, something like that. But it wasn't because we were just blowing teams out of the water every single game. We had like 1 or 2 like that, but we had a really solid defense. And I want to say we have more weapons on the attack now. And going back to our previous episode, we have a player like a Luka in the midfield that could help create a little bit more. We've got really good depth now with like Bram Bronico coming in, and it's I don't know. I feel better with our attack. So I hope our defense kind of keeps the status quo or does just as good potentially and maintains. And then our attack is able to compensate for maybe maybe not as many clean sheets, but still being able to beat some teams without outscoring them. So,
yeah, I think I agree with that. I think Yeah, I mean, I don't really have much to add to that. And it's kind of hard to know exactly. Like, I know we lost Malanda, and that's going to be a huge loss, but like, let's see what this defense looks like. I mean, we do have a few new pieces in there. Let's see how they play together, and it might not, be as big of a loss just from a result standpoint. So it's kind of too early to tell, but I do think leaning into the offense and focusing on making sure that was locked up was, in the midfield specifically, was the right way to go there. All right. So his second question I'm going to read is looking at the first stretch of the season. So our schedule is at St. Louis, at LA Galaxy, home against Austin. I almost said Australia because he abbreviated AUS, and I'm in Olympic mode. And I was like, wait a minute. Nope, that's not Australia.
You think you got World Cup in your head, man.
I do. Home against Miami, home against Red Bulls. And his question is, realistically, how many points do you expect to get out of this stretch?
It's a rough stretch to go against to start the season.
Yeah.
Because LAFC is going to be a tough game, especially on the road.
LA Galaxy, but yeah, either way.
Sorry, LA Galaxy. So, okay,
Yeah.
Sorry. I thought for some reason it was LAFC. Galaxy makes me feel a little bit better. So, but it's still on the road, still on the West Coast. Starting on the road 2 games in a row is tough.
Yeah.
Austin is always kind of tough. I don't think we've really done well against them anyways in the past when we have played, but at least it's at home. Red Bulls is always going to be like back and forth with them. I can't stand Red Bull. So I don't know, man. That's going to be a rough. I think we really need, if you just read, who was the fifth one? So you had Austin, LA Galaxy,
so yeah,
Red Bulls.
It's St. Louis, Galaxy, Austin, Miami, Red Bulls.
Miami, yikes. We really need it. Right. Yeah. So we really need to get 3 points on the road against St. Louis. And I think we really need to make sure we then get 3 points at least against Austin at home.
Yeah.
And get at least 6 points and then hope for a draw or a win against the Galaxy. And I think then you'll be in a really good place. I mean, you'll start with 7 points at least in the first 5 games with 2 or 3 of those with being playoff teams previously. Yeah. So, it's a rough start, man. We're ripping the Band-Aid right off this year.
Yeah, I had a similar, absolutely. I had a similar kind of thought process. I was thinking 7 or 8, with the same ones being the ones that I want to make sure we get the 3 points out of would be St. Louis and Austin, and maybe Red Bulls. Like, I mean, that's definitely a doable one at home.
It is. It should be.
But yeah, and then but grab 2 wins out of there and then 2 draws, however they match out. 2 wins, 2 draws out of those first 5 matches. I'd be very happy coming out of that with 8 points, 7 points, even depending on how they play and how it shakes out. I wouldn't be too mad at to come out of that 5-game stretch. I mean, not that it gets much easier after that. It's Philadelphia and Nashville at home follow those matches, so it's quite a stretch of matches. But I think if we come out of those first 5 with 7 or 8, I'm a happy person.
Mm-hmm.
Where'd my questions go? All right. Another one from Kevin. And I think this is interesting because someone else, when I posted this, was messaging me about it, how they felt the same way. And it maybe points to the fact that I was talking about how the season snuck up on me. He says, "Is it weird that I'm not excited for this season? The new kit is nice, but not like wow. We don't have any new big signings. The East feels like other teams have done more to reload." And he says, like, top 6 in a winning playoff series is my goal. And he's excited for Saturday, but I think there's something about this season. He's like, I don't feel like I have a player I'm itching to see and watch. This season doesn't feel like it quite has the same energy heading into the beginning of the season as past years. And again, I had, Phil message me, not to name drop him on here, but he texted me and basically said the same exact thing. He's like, yeah, that's how I feel.
Way to
also.
go, Phil. I'm just joking.
but so it's not, this is not a solo thing. I think there's other people that feel this way. I guess what I'll first ask is, like, do you understand that feeling? How are you feeling heading into the season? And can you point to maybe why some fans might feel that way?
I understand it. Because we didn't have like a big, sexy, buzzworthy signing. Like last year, we had a Wilfred Zaha, right? The year before, it was what's happening with Karol Swiderski, like what's happening with the DPs that we're going to be doing. You know, I get it. I think it's also, I don't want to say, I hate to say this because I think some of the newness is wearing off a little bit.
Totally.
So I think the excitement, just because it's new, is kind of worn off for most of some fans, and I kind of get that too. Like I remember first year or two, like I was like glued to my phone for every single announcement, every single tweet, every single event, every single email for the team that was coming out. And now I'm kind of like, well, I think it also, for me personally, I'm not on social media like that anymore. But like, I'm not following the club at that kind of hardcore fandom to a certain degree. I mean, I'm still following it, but I get where, you know, Kevin's coming from a little bit. But I also would say, like, I mean, I'm going to cue the Matt Swift here. Like, you do have Pep Biel, who is technically a buy, so that is a pretty big name player. Luca De La Torre was a really kind of underrated signing, I think, potentially. I know he hasn't played for us officially, but that's a under the radar type quality signing, hopefully, for us this year as well. So, you know, I do get that. I think once Saturday's here, that feeling will come back a little bit. That it's like, oh, it's here, it's new season, exciting buzz, especially if we win. That'll start that excitement up. But I get it. I do.
Yeah, I feel like you hit on a lot of the points that I had in my mind too. I think it's a handful of things. I think one, it's the season feels like it's starting a little earlier than normal. So like, you know, just maybe mentally not ready for that to happen yet. And then I think to your point, like last year, the big signing was Zaha. Like, I mean, that was massive. If you're looking at, if that's the kind of thing that you're looking at to get excited for a season and who you want to come see play. Like, yeah, we don't have a Zaha this year, but it's not going to happen very often that you get a player like that coming in. And I do feel like the Lucas signing kind of got, I mean, he's not to say that he's the same level as some of those other signings, but like he's a bit under the radar, and also the timing of it. I feel like it happened right around the holidays. So it's kind of a bit covered up. Like, it, you know, Correct. It just wasn't, it didn't kind of quite have the splash that other things we've done.
Well, and it's that interleague trade kind of purchase, you know, kind of like those always don't get the big press because it's not a quote unquote international signing, even though it kind of was because he was on loan and that nonsense. But I think it's part of that as well.
I think maybe also part of it's the first two games are away. So you're like, to me, I mean, I'm excited for the season to start, but I feel like when I get like really amped is that first time it's like, we're going to the stadium. Like we're going to, you know, like it's game day in Charlotte. Let's go kind of feeling. So like we don't have a home match and, you know, for a couple weeks.
True.
And then I think the last thing is what you pointed at, which is, you know, this is not a bad thing. It's just like, this is year 5. Like you know, for a while there, it was like, this is brand new and we were just excited to have a team and that this was happening Correct. Again. And we get to keep going to it. And now it's like, yeah, this is year 5. We're excited about it, but it's not quite the same, you know, like I don't feel necessarily the same like enthusiasm that I did in those first matches. It's not because I care any less about the team. It's just that like now it's become like it's February. This is what we do. We get ready for the season. We Correct. Go and do it. We get excited and we get the jersey and go at it. So I don't know. I get where he's coming from, and I can't really put a finger on one thing that it is. It's probably just a combination of a handful of things for people that are feeling that way. I do think once that first match happens in Bank of America Stadium, and you know we do Peppus and, you know, get ready for kickoff. Like, I think everybody will be like, yep, we're back. Here we go.
And you also have, not to go down this whole rabbit conversation, ticketing, but it's also different leading up to it. Cause you also, the first game with Austin, they're not opening the upper deck this year. Mm-hmm. There's not having that kind of push and buzz to like get 65,000 fans in the stadium again for opening season. So I think that anticipation that we've always had every year leading up to it's also missing as well.
Yeah, I think it's true. So again, I'm excited for when it happens, but I do get that kind of like, oh, well, season's here. Oh, interesting kind of feeling to it.
You've also got things like the Olympics going on at the same time, World Cups picking up this year. There's a lot of other things buzzing around at the same time too.
Yeah, I think that's fair. That's very fair. All right. We have a fun question from Eric Hill. We can always lean on for a fun question. If you had the ability to compete and be known for winning the gold medal in any Winter Olympic sport, which would it be? And he clarifies that he wants us to give both a individual sport and a team sport. So
God,
if you had the
like,
ability to compete and be known for winning the gold medal in any Winter Olympic sport,
I would say team sport would be hockey.
okay.
Just because that's like the one I know the most about. What's the one where you're like, is it the bobsled where you're just like, you just push yourself down and then you're like, there's no buffer and you're just going down the tube or whatever. Like,
So are you in? So because you're
the individual one, not the like.
But
Cool
do you want to
Runnings
be
one.
in like the like enclosed thing, or do you want to be just laying on the flat piece of like
laying
plastic?
on the flat piece of just
We have the
flat
same
one.
answer. That I
Do
know
we
it's
really?
yeah. It's either depending
funny.
on it whether you're talking about feet first or head first. Luge is feet first, and skeleton is head first.
I would say skeleton just because that seems super intense to have your head first and just being like, all right, here I go. Like, there's
Like
nothing
60
blocking
miles
me.
an hour down a sheet of ice.
Just nothing's gonna stop me. Just my head, that. So, that one's intense. There's also one where there's like two people stacked on each other.
Yeah, I don't
on it
understand
too,
that.
like-
That feels unnecessary. I don't get that one
It's
at all.
very unnecessary.
Most of the Winter
It's
Olympics
like-
is unnecessary, but we won't go too far down this rabbit hole. Most of the sports
Yeah.
are just completely unnecessary. I think so. I was going to pick luge, so I'll be slightly different because
Okay.
I know that's got to
Okay.
be terrifying, but at the same time, like if
Oh,
you're
yeah.
good at it, it also has to be fun as hell to be like I love sledding. Like you're sledding at 60 miles an hour, and that looks cool. So I would love to be known for that. Not bobsled. Bobsled looks harder to me. I don't know why, but just like having to wrangle that big old sled down a thing and steer that thing. No, like I just want to be on my little sled and go flying down. So
I want to change my individual one just because there's some really like weird. I mean, there's always weird like Olympic sports because it's like
specifically winter is just unhinged.
specific. There's the biathlon
Oh, you
where
wanted to
it's
shoot
like
things.
you're on skis and you shoot things with like a bow and arrow or a crossbow or something like that. And then you have to like like
Yeah.
push yourself forward. Like, yeah, that okay. I'm gonna change mine to that one because it seems so unnecessary and obnoxious. I just want to be like, yeah, that's the individual one just to do. Like,
Yeah.
I'm looking at these. It's the men's 20-kilometer individual. So you're going on skis for 20 kilometers while also shooting targets with a crossbow.
Not a crossbow.
Right.
It's a little rifle.
Is it?
It's-
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a little air rifle, but it's a rifle.
Great. Sure.
I don't understand that sport at all. Like, where did it? Like,
don't
I can't think of the realistic situation where they're like, "Oh, we should turn this into a competitive sport where like you go skiing and shoot things." I guess there must be ski hunters out there. I don't know. I don't know what happens.
Maybe,
in these,
yeah.
these countries are too cold, and they get crazy ideas because it's dark all the time, and they do things. I don't know what's happening.
It's just dark all the time. So we're gonna go out in the snow and shoot things with our skis on.
Side note, I was talking to somebody today because the women's hockey final was today, which was amazing.
Yeah.
By the way, just incredible.
I heard.
But I was talking to a guy at work who's a big hockey player and fan, and we were talking about it, and he was like, "Yeah, they really strictly enforce no fighting in the Olympics for hockey, which like hockey, like fighting is part of the sport.
That's
you
a
get
pretty
penalized, but it's like
correct.
it's a pretty integral part of like you have guys who literally their whole job is to come in and like beat people up.
Yeah.
And so they just like really strictly enforce it because they don't want it to be that way. They want it to be more of a skill sport. And so I was like, okay, so here's
Sure.
the philosophy of the Winter Olympics is like guns, fine. Punches, not okay. You go around shooting all you
Guns
want
on
to.
skis.
Guns
On skis.
Sharp blades flying around in the air, going head first down a ice patch at 70 miles an hour, all fine. You punch somebody? Absolutely not.
Absolutely.
How
You are ruining
dare
the vibe of the Olympics. That's
Crotch
so funny.
injections, not okay either, but that's a whole nother story. All right.
That's so
If you haven't
funny.
read about
I
that,
love
please
it.
look that up. If ski jumping, it's fascinating.
I have unfortunately heard about that.
We're going there. I don't actually. So for me, luge, and curling. I love curling. I will sit
Curling's
there
great to watch.
and
Yeah.
watch curling I've tried curling. It's super hard, by the way.
Is it really? I bet it is. Yeah.
It is. I mean, yeah, it's a hard sport, but like just because I did it when like it was probably during one of the other Olympics when I was still working at the newspaper. Like a curling club open in Charlotte. It's like if you want to go do it, there is a Charlotte curling club. Like you can go do like a learn to curl thing, and it's awesome.
It's they used to have one there at, what is it, the Charlotte Sportsplex or whatever, like near North Lake Mall, right? They used
I think
to
it was
have
somewhere up there. Yeah, I'm trying to remember exactly where it was, but yeah, they definitely have a curling club, if not multiple. I know there was one. That was really, they were great, and they were like showed me how to do it for a story, and like they make it look easy, and it's like no, you're trying to slide. Like your one shoe is just you have a little like insert or not insert, like a wrap over it. That's just like a piece of plastic. So you have no grip at all, no grip. And so you got to slide on that one while also holding onto a stone and then pushing it at the speed you want to without falling over. I never got the stone more than halfway down the sheet of ice. Never.
Okay.
Because I lose my balance too early and not get enough momentum behind it. And I only tried like 4 times. So it wasn't like I was there all day doing this. Crazy hard. And then imagine when they get up and sweep, you're running down a sheet of ice with one grippy shoe and one non-grippy shoe and try not to eat it while you're sweeping in front of a stone. Like it's an insane sport. They also always drink after, which I really enjoy. They have a thing. I don't know if just the Charlotte one made this up. I'm going to Google real quick, but they called it.
Oh, I thought you meant the Olympics. Like the Olympics,
they might
athletes
also,
are just drinking immediately after.
Yeah, no, totally Googled this. They didn't make it up. They call it broom stacking. So after, like traditionally after you have a curling match, everybody gets together and drinks, and they call it broom stacking.
That's cool.
So when I went to the store, they just like a cooler over on the side of the thing. We like finished up and you put the stuff up, and they just like opened up the cooler, and everybody hung out and was drinking together. I'm like, this is
sounds like a great
kind of sport.
Sounds like a sport that was made in a Scandinavian country that's really dark and they don't want to go outside.
I say that, or it sounds very Midwestern. Like this is a very like Midwestern Canada. It's cold, so we're gonna stay here and drink some Coors Banquet beer. So anyway, that's my sport. I would take it. Very different levels of athleticism involved with those two, being the luge and curling, but those would be the two I'd pick.
Sure. Yeah.
All right. Once again, we said we were doing a quick episode. We're pushing 55 minutes.
Here we are.
This is what we do. So
I've got one little quick plug real quick for our friends over at Mint City Collective. So if you don't have plans on Saturday, they have a watch party on Saturday at Hopfly for the St. Louis City match. So they have some cool things going on. Our friend Chico La Muerte has a beer release party for that one. Extra time starts at 12:30. They also have some Minty Miles, just in case you're a Mint City member. You can get some Minty Miles that you can cash in for some stuff. And I think they're doing tattoos again. I remember last year when we did the watch party there's people doing tattoos. I was very kindly told by my wife to not do that, but so
Matt got a tattoo.
We will see. Matt, that's right. Matt did get a tattoo. That's right.
And he tried to talk me into it, and I was like, I'm not anti-tattoo, but my first tattoo is definitely not going to be at a watch party from like a guy.
At a soccer watch party.
Yeah, like it's not. That's not it. Not the first one.
There you go.
It's different when you already have like a bunch going on. You can like add this. I think he got like the number of the attendance of the first home match.
I think so. You're right. Yeah.
Like you add that to something else, it's fine. So anyway.
Yeah, so that's happening Saturday. So just in case if you don't have plans, check them out. And then we might have something special lined up soon that we can announce. That's more live show here soon. Yeah,
more details, but possibly ahead of the first home match in a few weeks. We might be doing something as well. So yeah, we'll share more about that as it gets all confirmed and all that stuff. But excited to do some. Now that David's back in the great state of North Carolina, we can maybe do some more in-person live stuff. So looking forward to that as well too. But and as always, jump on the Patreon. Typically when we did this last year, and we'll see how we do it this year. But a lot of times these match preview episodes that we did were for Patreon members only. So this one we're putting out to everybody. But if you want to make sure you're getting that kind of content, plus soccer and coffee, plus access to the Discord to chat about everything, and ask us questions and all that stuff, sign up for our Patreon. You will get a link to the Discord. If you don't, go yell at David. you can take care of you, but get in there and support the show that way. But with that, thanks everybody for listening. Get excited for soccer on Saturday. Let's go to St. Louis. Let's come home with a win. Let's get the season started off right. We'll see you next time.